Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Block Studio 3 podcast, the podcast that I am creating to help educate people around Web3 and NFTs and how we can use this technology to build our brands and businesses. My name is Sean. This is episode 2 of the Block Studio 3 podcast. And in this episode, I just want to go over why NFTs and what can we do with NFTs, right? I think in the first podcast, I was just doing an introduction of why I'm starting this podcast, a little backstory about myself, and a little, tip on how you can get started in the space if you are brand new to it. But in this one, I want to go ahead, jump right into it and start going over some things that we can do with NFTs and really how if you're a creator, if you're a brand, if you run a business, how are some ways that you can start thinking about using NFTs to build stronger communities, a closer relationship to your customers, and how can you really use this as, potentially some long-term growth to your business. Now, why NFTs, right? That's a question that we have to answer because we have things already that we can do to grow our brands and businesses, whether it's social media, whether it's marketing, advertisement. But why NFTs, right? What can NFTs do that I can't do in these other realms and these other areas when it comes to growing my brand? And there are 3 things that you can do with NFTs that I think are really different from other things that make NFTs really unique. And how can we utilize these 3 things, right? So the 3 things are that NFTs allow us to do is verify. They allow us to authenticate. And the third thing I threw in there was royalties, which we'll kind of go over in a little bit. But verification, right? With NFTs, if you remember back in episode 1 when I was explaining blockchain technology and how blockchain works, we're able to verify if a NFT is, if someone owns an NFT, right? So if I come and try to say, enter or get access to something, I can verify if I own this NFT, it will give me access to whatever it is. And verification, I think it's going to play a very important role, especially for things like event tickets, for token gating, and all these things. I'm going to go into some detail and specific examples of, how you can possibly use this or start thinking of ways to use it if you're in this realm or if your brand or business is within the realm of the use cases. But verification is one. Authentication is the other one. So similar to verification, we can authenticate whether an NFT is real or not. And by real or not is we can now authenticate and look who is the creator of this NFT, and we can now authenticate if the NFT is really created by this actual digital artist, or is this someone just trying to take this person's digital art and sell it off as a fake or a fraud, right? Verification, authentication, very close, but from the example that I gave in the last episode of how blockchain works, it's very important because without blockchain, if you're talking about a ticket to an event, you can create fake tickets. If you're talking about artwork, you can rip off artwork from someone else and try to sell it as the real thing. So there's a lot of things that blockchain technology and NFTs allow us to do, and verifying and authenticating go hand in hand with being able to distinguish digital items from each other. And that way, we can kind of get rid of the fakes and everything, and we can really give access to those who truly have the NFT or actually hold the NFT. And now the third one, too, that's really important is royalties. And with NFTs, you can actually set royalties on top of these digital items. So when they're sold on the secondary market, right after your initial sell, right, say you sell an NFT for $100 and you sold out, normally on a product, a physical product or something, once you sell the product, it's done. You don't collect anything on the product after the fact. Now with NFTs, it's a little bit different. You can actually attach royalties to these NFTs, the digital products, That way, when they're sold after the initial sale, you can still collect royalties on all those sales as well. So it's a really cool thing that you're able to do, especially with digital items, right? If you sell it and you say you put a 10% royalty, if someone sells it for $1,000, you're collecting $100 on that secondary sale, and you don't need to do anything. It's all tracked and everything on the blockchain. So those are some, again, 3 ways that I feel what you can do with NFTs. Now, with those 3 general ideas comes the creativity and the the possibilities of what can you think of and how can you utilize those 3 things to now build something for your brand and for your business. And the big chunk of this episode is me just kind of brainstorming ideas and sharing ideas of potential use cases for NFTs. Now, this was also a great way for me to learn what the possibilities of NFTs are, because as you start to brainstorm and as you hear these ideas, it starts to unlock your understanding of what can you use NFTs for. So I'm hoping that me sharing some of these ideas with you folks kind of unlocks that creativeness and the potential of what could you possibly use NFTs for your brand, your business, or maybe you're just starting off and you're starting something brand new. What are some creative ways that you can use NFTs? Now, I'm going to start off with probably one of the more basic, or I should say basic, but the more popular idea that people use for NFTs because of the verification and authentication of everything. A lot of times when people try to explain what NFTs are and what NFTs can be used for, the best or most popular use case is like tickets, right? If you made an NFT a ticket and you sold the ticket as an NFT, when people are coming to whatever event or it is that you're selling the tickets for, they can now verify and authenticate, is this ticket a real ticket or is it a fake one, right? So it gets rid of all the possibilities of someone creating a counterfeit ticket, trying to get into the event or access whatever the ticket is going to be used for. And again, blockchain and NFTs can help us do that with verifying and authenticating. Now, with tickets, again, you can even add on royalties to that. So say someone buys a ticket and no longer wants to attend or gain access to whatever the ticket was for, they can go ahead and sell it on the secondary market or sell it to someone. Maybe they are season holders for like a sport team or something and they can't attend a certain event. They can go ahead and sell that ticket for whatever game it is on the secondary market. And as the event owner or the creator of the event, you can go ahead and attach royalties on those secondary sales. So if someone sells a ticket to another person, you can collect your share of those secondary sales. So again, royalties, verification, authentication, this is a way that tickets are a really great example because that's what tickets are used for, right? When you show a ticket to someone, you are verifying that you purchased this ticket and that you are the one that is able to gain access to whatever the ticket is for, whether it's a airline flight, whether it's a musical concert, whether it's a sporting event. Tickets are used for a lot of things, and I think in the near future, we're going to see a lot of tickets being sold as NFTs. I believe Ticketmaster is already partnering up with a blockchain. I believe they partnered with Flow Blockchain, and they are already thinking of ways to integrate NFTs into tickets. So you'll probably be seeing it in the near future. But tickets, as if you're going to host your own event or something, you can now go ahead and sell your own tickets as NFTs, create your NFT, sell the ticket, and verify people as they come to the event because you know who the creator of the NFT was and all that stuff. So that's a real baseline example of tickets, right? And the cool thing is you can now think of how can I take that to the next level, right? How can I take the idea of tickets and how can I add more onto it because of the power and the potential of NFTs. So there's a couple examples that I thought of how you can make tickets a little bit more interesting, especially now that you can attach this ticket with the concept of an NFT. So the first one, and I think Gary Vee uses this example quite a bit when trying to explain NFTs to people. Let's just say we're creating a ticket for airline, and the airline wants to create a nice looking ticket and they want to put some artwork and everything on the ticket. They can go ahead and hire an artist to do that artwork for the ticket. And the cool thing is with blockchain and smart contracts, which is what's used to create NFTs, you can build into the code the payout cuts to whoever is getting paid for whenever this NFT sells. So as an artist, you can put in an artist to get, let's just say 2% of every ticket that is sold that has their artwork on it. So there's a lot of, again, cool technical things that you can do with NFTs. But you can hire an artist, maybe they're a big artist, maybe they're up and coming artist, and you can put their artwork on the ticket. Now, that ticket is treated as a digital product. It's NFT, and it can now be sold as a collectible even after the fact that it's used. So if you got an airline ticket and let's just say Bob is the artist and you bought the ticket and you now have the ticket, you used it, you flew to where you needed to go, you still have the ticket, and now you just have a little ticket stub NFT of art that was created by Bob. Now, with that, you can say Bob blows up to be a huge artist, and now that ticket could be worth something to someone who wants to collect Bob's art. And let's just say someone wants to buy that ticket off of you for $100. You can go ahead and now sell that ticket as artwork to someone else who wants the ticket, not for being able to use the ticket because it can't be used anymore, but because they want to collect Bob's art. So connecting an artist to the artwork that is actually on the NFT is another way that, one, the artist can get paid, two, the airlines can collect secondary sales on all these things if Bob becomes a big artist and these tickets start to move on secondary markets. Again, the airline can collect royalties on all of these sales that happen. Now, as an artist too, you can kind of, maybe you can, let's just say you're Bob, right? And Bob blew up and this airline ticket was his first ever artwork that he did for an NFT. And now Bob is opening a art gallery, in his hometown, and he wants to invite people to enter the art gallery. Now, here's the cool thing with NFTs, and the one thing that I think a lot of people can start, like, this is where I think NFTs get really big and you can do a lot of things with NFTs, because NFTs, they're universal. They don't just live in an ecosystem that you created it for. So normally, if you create something digital, let's say like an airline ticket or something, it only lives within the airline's system, right? It's in their database, it's in their system. It can't really be used elsewhere. The cool thing with NFTs is because it's built on the blockchain and the blockchain is universal and for everyone, you can actually, as Bob being the artist, now utilize those tickets for something else. So let's just say Bob again is opening up his art gallery in his hometown, and for the first grand opening weekend, he only wants to invite people who own his first NFT artwork, which is this airline ticket. Bob can actually go ahead and create his own ticket or access to his art gallery, but only offer it to people who own this airline ticket. And again, he's utilizing a digital asset from another ecosystem, which was this airline, but he's utilizing it for his own need to go ahead and give people access to his art gallery. So the cool thing with NFTs is you can use other people's NFTs as a way to give access to something that you're creating. It's a way to, take an existing audience already and give them access to something else or give them value in something else. And the cool thing is you can verify and you know who all these people are because all that information, again, is on the blockchain. So let's just say Bob is going to randomly pick 500 people who submit that they own one of these airline tickets and they gain access to his art gallery grand opening over the weekend. And he can do that all on the blockchain and verify everyone that applies and everyone that attends that grand opening event. So again, this is all building upon ideas of how you can use NFTs. And again, this is just for tickets, right? We went from using an airline ticket to now it giving access to a grand opening art gallery. So these are all the ideas and everything that I think once you start to understand the concepts of NFTs and how blockchain works, you can start to think of how can I build community and how can I use an existing community maybe in an already existing NFT project or NFT group, and how can I use that and bring attention to what I'm trying to build in my brand and everything. So again, using artwork on a ticket is a great way to go ahead and create NFTs that are tickets. I think another great idea, and I actually got this idea from an escape room that was being held in my neighborhood. It was an Alice in Wonderland escape room, and you can basically buy a ticket, book a time slot and everything, and attend the escape room, and you can go ahead and do the escape room. Now, the idea that came to my mind when I saw this escape room was, what if you bought an NFT ticket, right, for this escape room, and after you go ahead and do the escape room, if you complete the escape room under, whatever set time it was, maybe an hour, your NFT ticket, because you can change the artwork and the metadata behind the ticket, you can go ahead and now change the artwork to, let's just say, a gold statue of an Alice in Wonderland piece of art, right? Or if you failed, maybe you would get just a blank white statue, or you would maybe just get another piece of artwork, but that gold statue is the artwork that you get, and your NFT ticket now transforms into that NFT because you actually completed the escape room in the allotted time that you had. And it's kind of this idea of dynamic tickets, right? Because you can issue out the ticket of the NFT as a blank slate, and depending on what happens during the event, after the event happens, you can now manipulate or change that artwork to something else that represented something that happened in the event. So where I think this would be really cool is for sporting tickets, right? You buy a ticket to a sport game, and after the game, the ticket now changes into a highlight moment from the game, right? And the cool thing taking that another step further is maybe that highlight moment gets to be voted on by people who attended the game and had the ticket, right? Everyone gets to go on and go ahead and vote what highlight moment gets chosen for that ticket to transform into. And they do that voting and stuff already, like for the English Premier League. After a game, fans and people can go ahead and vote for the man of the match. I think the same thing can happen with ticket events, right? You go to a basketball game and maybe LeBron James has a dunk, and maybe that was the coolest best moment of the game, and that's the moment that people want their ticket to go ahead and transform to. They can vote on that, and instead of having just a picture of a ticket stub, you can now have a highlight moment of LeBron James and his dunk, and only those people that have the ticket will have that highlight moment. So however much people attended the game, there are only that much of the highlight moment that now exists, that people, again, you can now treat this like a collectible, and people can now sell this on the secondary market. And with royalties being attached, the event holders, the sporting team, whoever it is, can now collect those secondary royalties. And, it's just another source of income from ticket sales besides the actual initial ticket sale itself. So there's so much stuff that you can actually do for this. And the cool thing, I think, is again the ongoing use of NFTs, and that's one thing I think people need to click in a lot of people's heads is you can do more with NFTs. I mean, the possibility of what you can use NFTs for is infinite, right? 25 years from now, I can say, hey, if you own that LeBron James dunk ticket, you now get to attend raffled in to attend a playoff game or NBA Finals game for free, right? Because you can now verify who owns the ticket and who can enter that raffle. So you can pull NFTs from 5 years ago, from 15 years ago, and you can use those for certain things, whether it's verifying or doing a raffle or authenticating, whatever it is. You can just go back into the archive, pick an NFT, and you can give some type of use case for it. And I think that's the power and the potential of NFTs is people are going to continually sell these things on the secondary market because you never know when someone might actually use that NFT for something. Maybe it's a raffle, maybe it's a giveaway, maybe it's access to something else, right? I could say this ticket, the initial sell of the ticket got you into the game that you bought it for, and maybe, the following year there's a charity match. Anyone with this ticket can come and attend the charity match, and the possibilities are endless. Again, with NFTs, there's so much that you can think of and that you can create. And I think that's, for me, that's my passion, and that's why I'm starting this brand, is to share the ideas and to share the creativeness of what I feel NFTs have the power to become. But it's new, it's foreign stuff, and a lot of times we have to understand how we can get creative with it and what can and can't I do with NFTs to fully understand the potential of what NFTs can be. But that was just an idea and a rant on how NFTs can be used for tickets. Now, the biggest thing that I think NFTs can give you a lot of times is it's a terminology that in the NFT space called token gating. And you can basically give access to people who hold the NFT, right? The non-fungible token. Therefore, it's called token gating. Only people with the token can gain access to whatever they're gaining access to. Now, you verify someone by, of course, verifying their wallet. And if their wallet holds NFT A or whatever NFT you're trying to verify, you can go ahead and give access to those people that hold that NFT. Now, really cool thing. Now, what I'm going to go over are just some basic ideas, and these are very simple ideas that you can go ahead and you can actually implement today if you chose to do so. They're not as complex as the ticket idea and building out the tickets, but token gating things like group accesses. So say you have a stock trading group, right? And people need to pay a fee in order to join the stock trading group. You can go ahead and sell an NFT, and you can lock your Telegram or your Discord, and people who hold that NFT can gain access into your stock trading group. And that's where you share all your stock information, your calls, whatever it is that you share in your stock trading group. And the only way to gain access to it is with this NFT. So let's just say you sell 1,000 NFTs for you only want 1,000 people in your group. The initial sell, maybe you sell it for $200. That's $200,000, right? If you sell out all 1,000. Well, let's just say someone in the stock trading group, maybe they hit the jackpot and they did a trade and they made $100,000 and they're satisfied. That's all they wanted to make. They could take their NFT, they could sell it on the secondary market, and someone else could replace that person, right? Someone could buy it from that person, and now they have access to the group, and that person who sold it no longer has access. But because of the royalties, you as the owner of the NFT and the owner of that stock trading group, you now collect royalties whenever someone trades or sells this NFT on the secondary market. So I think access groups are a very simple way to implement NFTs. Maybe you're just trying to look into how to get started with NFTs and things like that. These group access with token gating access into a exclusive group, I think is a very simple way. So maybe you got a stock trading group, maybe you own a real estate group where you work together and you folks invest into different real estate things. Maybe you are a band or you write music and stuff, and maybe you want people to have behind the scene access to things that you're doing. Maybe you create a group where you film and record what you're doing behind the scenes, and only people with an NFT have access to it. You can kind of think of it like maybe like a super fan group, right? People, if you're a content creator or maybe you're just an influencer with followers, maybe you sell 500 NFT passes to your super fans, and those super fans get access to a Discord or a Telegram, or maybe you get to chat with them, you do video calls, behind the scenes stuff, maybe whatever exclusive content you want to offer to those people. Only people with the NFT can gain access to that, right? And now if you're an influencer and you sell that NFT for maybe $100 or something, and you have a bunch of fans who want access, that $100 NFT, maybe someone's like, hey, I'll give someone $1,000 if I can buy that NFT off you, because that's what that access is worth to me. Or maybe I want to pay $5,000. And the cool thing is that influencer and that creator is going to collect royalties on all those secondary sales, right? And again, building upon the use cases of NFTs, that NFT doesn't only have to be for access to that group, right? You can maybe you sell merch, right? Maybe you sell merchandiser because you're an influencer or you're a creator on YouTube and you have merchandise. Maybe people who hold that NFT that got that exclusive access to your superfan group, now you can do things like on Shopify. Maybe you offer them a 10 or 20% discount on your merchandise because they own that superfan NFT. So Shopify does have these things where you can utilize NFTs and give discounts to people, right? You can even make exclusive product only available to your super fans and sell that merch on your shop. So maybe you sell a really cool jacket and someone really wants that jacket, but the only way they can get it is if they have your super fan NFT. So maybe they're gonna go and spend that money to buy a superfan NFT from someone and go ahead and now gain access to buy that jacket that they wanted. So the idea of NFTs being used for one thing and solely one thing, I think that's the mindset that a lot of people who look at NFTs need to break out of, because you can use that NFT for multiple things. And I think content creators, influencers, brands themselves, right? If Adidas maybe comes out with an NFT and now that person gets access to early drops, they get access to discounts online, maybe they get access to an Adidas superfan only online store, right? There's so many things that you can do, and you can create hype, you can create scarcity. The want to need to get into this exclusiveness is what can drive secondary sales. And again, that's when the royalties kick in, and that's where you can collect secondary sales on all the sales that happen outside of the initial sale of that NFT. Now, excuse me, a lot of things that you can do as well is token gating content, right? You can token gate digital products. This was actually an example that I gave, I want to say about 6 months ago. I made a Instagram reel about it on how photographers could utilize NFTs. But a lot of photographers sell presets, right? Lightroom presets for, editing photos and things like that. So the idea that I had behind the reel that I made is a Lightroom preset is just a file that you download and then you install to Lightroom to gain access to the preset. So you can actually token gate that. You can token gate that preset file, and only people who say buy maybe your NFT get access to that preset file. So instead of selling just your preset file, you sell an NFT that gains access to the preset file, right? But then it's like, why sell the NFT if someone could just purchase the preset file and download the file, right? That's true. But now you can, again, utilize that NFT for something else besides its initial use, right? The initial use was to gain access to the preset because you're selling the preset. Now let's say, hey, I'm coming out with a preset bundle, but because you already own one of the presets in it, you get, let's just say the preset's $20. This bundle is $100 for 5 presets. Because you already own one preset, instead of paying $100 for this preset, we're going to give it to you for $80. Or maybe because you supported us early, you're going to get this preset bundle for $50, right? You can utilize that NFT for other things in the future. And I think that's where a lot of business strategy and the business ideas are going to come into play, right? How can I create an NFT and what possible things can I use this NFT for in the future? Because that's the cool part about NFTs. You don't have to just use it for the initial use that you made it for. E-commerce, I think, is going to be a big one. And I think a lot of people at streetwear brands and stuff are going to step into the NFT space soon because of its ability to grow a community. And I believe streetwear, the core of streetwear is its community. It's a brand. It stands for something, right? That's why people wear certain brands of clothes, because they like what that brand represents. And I can see a lot of streetwear brands creating NFTs, and the community or the owner of those NFTs now get early access to maybe exclusive designs. Maybe they get behind the scene looks at what the company and the brand is doing. All these things are things that you can do now in e-commerce. And because everything on e-commerce is done online, again, like that example I gave before, you can give 10% off to someone who owns an NFT. You can make products exclusively to only people who hold that NFT, right? People are going to want that NFT because they want the exclusiveness, they want the discount, they want the value that that NFT holds for that brand or that streetwear, that culture, right? And now you can start to communicate more with the holders of that NFT. Like, hey, we want your guys' input on our next line that we're coming out with. What do you guys think of this? And you can start to really dive deep and, start to interact more with your community of people who want to be invested, right? They bought the NFT because they want to be invested in the group. They want to be invested in the brand. And now they can have a say in what the brand does if the brand chooses to do so. So again, I think really soon you're going to see that shift in streetwear, and you're going to see a lot of people going and creating NFTs because, again, you can build that unique community. And if someone doesn't want to be part of that community anymore, they can sell that NFT. Someone else that wants to can come on in and be part of that community, and you collect royalties on all those secondary sales. There's a few more things that I have examples of. I know this is a lot, but again, I'm hoping that sharing these ideas is starting to kind of unlock and get your brain thinking of ways that NFTs can be used for potentially your brand, your business. And, again, NFTs, I mean, the possibilities, I'm going to keep saying it, they're endless. And what you can do with it, and I think being smart and strategic on how you use it, it's what's going to be very important. So another example of token gating is for websites. So this can be similar to like the group access or something, but you can give access to certain parts of your website to only people who own an NFT. I did this kind of with my first initial NFT that I launched, and it was for an online course. The online course was only accessible if you owned the NFT. Right, so I have my web page, and the only way to get into the course section of the web page is you have to show proof of your NFT, and then you got access to the course material, and you can go ahead and watch the course. You can do this for your website, right? If you have maybe just exclusive content that you only want to share for certain people, they need to own an NFT in order to gain access to that. So that's another way too that you can use NFTs to token gate your websites and things. And speaking of websites, you can also do this for web apps. So there's a few web apps that I've used before and I've gotten ads and stuff for them. And this is when they're first starting off. What a lot of web apps will do is so that they can get funds to, kind of start their web app business is a lot of web apps nowadays do subscription models. But in order to get, their initial funds and everything to make sure they can run the business, they'll sell lifetime access for like a higher dollar amount. So an example was this graphic art website or web app that, I thought was pretty cool. They sold lifetime access to the app for $90. The monthly subscription was going to be $15 a month. So in my head, it's like, hey, if I pay $90, that's it. Pay $90 and I get lifetime access to the web app. And you can do the same thing and the same idea kind of with NFTs, right? You can still run a subscription model, but if you hold this NFT, you get lifetime access to the tool, the web app. And now you can do, again, other things with that NFT. And I think a lot of people who maybe have web apps and stuff that, they're doing something like this, instead of selling lifetime access, sell an NFT that gives you lifetime access to your web app. And on the side, now maybe you come up with a second web app. Maybe that NFT now gets access to that second web app as well. Or maybe a new feature is coming out and people only that have the NFT can get access to this new feature. Or maybe you're selling merch. You can now use that NFT to give discounts on merch. So again, I think there are things that we do already in Web 2 and that we're doing already online that if we integrate NFTs into it, you now have the option and the ability to do more with that initial purchase that someone made. And, business wise, you're maybe able to extract or market to them other things that they may be interested in purchasing from your brand or business. So again, NFTs, they have a lot of potential. And that was just, those are things that I brainstormed off the top of my head on potentially what you can use NFTs for. If there is one of those ideas that I went off and, maybe you want me to speak in more detail on how you could structure and how you could create an NFT around maybe one of those examples like an e-commerce store or something, let me know in the comments. Whether you're listening to this podcast, let me know in the reviews. If you're watching this on YouTube, let me know in the comments. And I would love to go into more detail over how you can actually use and build NFTs for that specific thing. But again, this whole episode is just to share ideas of how NFTs can be used, why use NFTs, right? The why just being you can do so much more with NFTs. And the cool thing is, again, you can use NFTs for different things besides their initial use case. You can go back and pull an NFT from your archive and say, hey, this was our first NFT, maybe 10 years from now, right? You go back, you grab your first NFT and be like, hey, this was the first NFT our company ever made, and we're coming out with something new, and we want to give people who own that first NFT the initial access or the ability to go ahead and purchase or gain access to whatever it is that we're coming out with. So it's the idea of being able to use the NFT because they live on the blockchain forever once they're created. You can go back in time, pull an NFT, and you can start thinking of ways to utilize that NFT as well. Not only can you go up and down your own timeline of NFTs that you created, but remember, you can pick NFTs from other companies and utilize their holders and their community to maybe bootstrap and start your own community of NFTs, right? Maybe I'm coming out with or a lot of people who are like Bored Ape Yacht Club holders, right? Maybe someone owns a Bored Ape Yacht Club and maybe they're making a burger place, right? Bored and Hungry is a burger place, and they gave access to people who owned Bored Ape Yacht Clubs or Mutant Apes to, come to their place, whatever it is. They gave access and discounts to those people, right? So you can now, again, bootstrap and not, I wouldn't say steal, but you can reach out to those other NFTs and those other communities and that are similar in what you're trying to do. And you can now say, hey, if you hold that NFT from this brand, we're very similar. Why don't you come and try out our stuff and we can give you a discount, or maybe we can give you a trial period access. And these are the things, again, that are not so much used in our world today, especially when it comes to marketing and advertising and everything, because NFTs just give us the ability to do more. And that's why I got so interested in the space and everything, and why I am so dedicated and passionate about trying to help brands and creators utilize NFTs, because I think what you're able to do and what you're going to be able to do with them is going to allow you to grow your brand and business, and the people, your fans, your customers, you're going to be able to grow a much more loyal fan base, because you can now get them involved, actually involved in what you're doing. And I think this idea of collectability, exclusiveness, scarcity, that's really what NFTs drive. And I think that drives secondary sales. And again, I'm going to keep saying it, you can attach royalties and you can continually collect revenue from these NFTs in the secondary market. So that was my rant on why NFTs and what NFTs can be used for. Let me know in the comments if you want me to go deeper on any of those things. Let me know how I'm doing on my podcast, guys. This is my second episode. I hope you folks liked this one. I know I ranted on a lot about different ideas, but again, the goal is to help you folks understand and get creative and think of ways that you can utilize NFTs. So if you folks are listening to this podcast, leave it 5 stars, leave a comment, let me know how I did. If you're watching this on YouTube, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. But thank you folks for listening to this podcast. Again, this is Block Studio 3. I hope you folks enjoy your day. I'll see you on the next one.